Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and we are finally in the new place, and everything is covered in boxes, and this is the only place downstairs I could find to film a video. I thought about doing it in the kitchen, but there's too many boxes in there. And I'm actually surrounded by boxes on both sides here, even though I'm right by my computer desk. So we've got a lot of work to do, but I thought I would shoot a video real quick before going in training, because I still have a meet next weekend, so I can't skip training despite the move. And I thought I would cover a current event today, something I saw about and was reading quite a bit about and got into a debate about the evening before I moved out, was about a transgender athlete who is suing CrossFit for them not allowing her to compete as a woman. And I find these are interesting discussions, and this is a case to where even my political leanings tend to be more towards liberal or libertarian, depending upon which issue we're talking about. But as far as social issues go, I am very much pro-equality. I'm very pro allowing gay marriage, things like that. The problem we run into is that we are looking here at an issue of supposedly gender equality. And normally the type of arguments that people put forward for this sort of stuff is that, well, if you give this person equal rights, it devalues my rights in some way when it comes to marriage and things. And these are not actually true. It doesn't hurt you in any way. However, in the case of the transgender athletes, not necessarily females going to males, but males going to females, and anyone with a strong understanding of physiology and biomechanics understands this. Clearly the people at CrossFit understood this. I even had some very reputable coaches with backgrounds in biomechanics discussing this on my private Facebook page in the debate, and they were basically agreeing with me that it gives that person an unfair advantage in any sport involving strength or power. And it's really inappropriate if you want anything remotely close to fair. Now, I know some of you are going to say, well, women use steroids and people have different genetics, and that's fine. But when you're in a situation to where you know you have a specific genetic advantage based upon your sex, and you perform a sex change operation, and then you go compete against the sex that you know you have the advantage over, it becomes an issue. Because you did not have that actual advantage in sports, you seized the advantage. That is literally on par with someone who goes and enters a drug-tested powerlifting meet or drug-tested strongman event. Instead of going and competing in the non-tested federations, where it would be equal, they decide to go compete in the tested and just cheat on the drug tests. And I think the majority of us look at that and go, okay, dude, come on. And it's the same thing with this sort of situation. The reality is, yes, his hormones are different, but he went through puberty. He developed all of these sexual male characteristics in development in terms of bone structure, certain effects on muscle fiber density, particularly in the upper body, larger, thicker joints, higher bone density. All of these things are going to matter. This individual is pound for pound, even though hormonally a female now is going to be pound for pound stronger than, say, his own sister would be if she were to then train for the same sport. And it's enough so that the type of drug doses that female athletes usually use who want to stay looking feminine, they tend to use very low doses of things like Anavar or Primobolan. It's enough of a difference that those women who are only mildly enhanced like that are not going to be able to bridge the gap. Only a very gifted athlete is going to be able to bridge the gap. Someone's going to have to basically have better genetics than him and probably be using a little bit of drugs in order to be competitive with him. And that's the issue we run into. And people say, well, it's taking away their right to choose their gender. No, it's not, because socially they are still female. I'm personally more than happy to treat that person as a female socially, acknowledge them as a female. It doesn't bother me to do so. But again, the problem becomes it's taking away the rights of the majority of athletes to pick their gender and stay with the gender they were born with. And as a lot of people point out, there's a difference between sex and gender. Well, in this case, this person's sex, because their bone structure, their genetics, everything else is male, and their gender is female because they've gone through surgeries and hormone stuff to change it. So this is a case of there is a difference between sex and gender. This person has a different sex than they do gender. And their sex is what should be used to determine, because it determines base developmental characteristics in terms of their physiology that will stay even after these changes occur. And that is what should be used to determine where you are placed in sports if you want to be reasonably fair to the other athletes. And it's just ridiculous that we're even debating this, because this isn't an issue of gender equality. This is an issue of cheating in sports, and it is an attack on the rights of women who want to be competitive in their sports and play on a level playing field against other women. Alright guys, so that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time. And let me give you guys a bicep shot before I go.